I'm not expecting lots of people joining me today, but you can always watch the replay. Right, so I'm sorry about last Thursday. I was unwell and I made a decision on the Wednesday that I really couldn't do the live because I do a little bit of preparation for this and I needed to bake a cake. So I just thought, no, I'm not going to even put any pressure on me because I was so poorly. Nothing to do with the you know what, but no, I just felt terrible, absolutely, and came out in a big rash, but I'm feeling fine, kind of. So hello everybody and welcome. So this particular tutorial is going to be for my beginners. It's going to be showing you how you prepare your cake for decoration. It's perfect really for the novice, the beginner, and those who have, just need a little bit of confidence in getting in that kitchen and baking. So first things first, I'm going to apologise in advance. I have two dogs and sometimes they bark, and so if they do, I do apologise because I'm doing this from my kitchen. And also, I'm not a professional, just to get that out of the way. I'm just a home baker, okay? So forgive me if I don't know all the answers, but I promise you that I'll answer every question I can to the best of my ability and knowledge. Okay, so. The cake. I'm recording from my mobile phone, so apologies if I don't always see you, if you do come on. Hello if you're there. And if you're watching the replay, hello to you too. Don't forget to click like and subscribe, because I always forget that. But with me recording on my mobile phone, what's the word? The messages come on the screen and then they leave very quickly. They kind of vanish. So this is for my beginners, and they might be wondering how to start. And this here, I've decided, because I did a bit of thinking, I shouldn't always. Hello, Alison. Hi, welcome. Nice to see you here. Hope you're okay. Hope you're doing okay. Right. I thought, right, I'm going to show you how to do this with the minimal use of any tools, because I thought, no, I'm going to do this for the beginner who might not have every bit of equipment. And I'm also going to show you a very simple way of crumb coating and things like that. It's not at a professional level. This is at beginner novice level, but I tell you, you can still create wonderful cakes. I promise you. And the reason why I say I'm not going to go to the advanced and show you everything is because I just want to show you, because sometimes when people are getting into cake decorating, they get a bit nervous and they get a bit worried because they think, it just gets on top of you, all right? And you get stressed. So I'm going to make this as stress-free, okay? And the key to it is have everything done in advance before you start. So do your buttercreams, make that up. Any jams that you're adding, it's a very British thing to add jam. A lot of, in the States, I know they add a lot of syrups, but I don't particularly like syrup, but if you do add syrup, I prefer the traditional British English way of adding some kind of sauce. So it's either jam, strawberry sauce, raspberry sauce, chocolate, Nutella. Oh, the list can go on and on. So I've got my cake here, all right, and this is actually an almond cake, and I made it. I'll just take this away for a second. I made it in this tin. I made the entire cake in this 6-inch tin. It's a 6-inch cake. So when I was thinking about things, I was thinking, right, okay, I don't have time to crumb coat and then put it in the freezer for half an hour while you all sit or stand around. So I'm going to basically show you how you fill the cake and crumb coat it, and then I'll show you on a dummy how to put the fondant on, because that cake will have to go in the fridge, and rather than you keeping you here for half an hour just stood around, and I don't have lots of cakes that I've made in advance. I'm not a business. I'm not, you know, making food for content purposes. I'm just making it for the family, if you understand. Okay, so this is an almond cake. I've cut it in half. So we've got one half, and I've got my buttercream, and I've got my strawberry jam. I'm using strawberry because I think almond and strawberry work so well. And I've got my buttercream here. Just move that out of the way for a second. Okay. I've got my buttercream here. And I'm going to use the minimum of tools. I'm going to make it for my beginners. So if I'm doing it as if I was a beginner and I didn't have a lot of tools and I just wanted to make a cake for my family, all right? A birthday cake, an anniversary cake, or any kind of celebration. So if you are here, could just say hi and that you can hear me okay? Because sometimes I do this and I don't even know if anybody can hear me. But if you can, just say hi, you can hear me or something, or thumbs up. Mandy Hall, hello Mandy. Hello Mandy. You can hear me okay, everyone? Hi Alison. So I take it that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Great. So I've got my buttercream here, and I've got my buttercreams are a little bit different to your ones that you get in your recipe books. Mandy, you can hear fine. That's great, Mandy. Thank you. Shamiso, hello, hello. I hope I'm saying your name okay. So, for example, this particular here, this buttercream, I don't put as much sugar as others do because I don't particularly like that very oversweet buttercream. But do as you will. So I've put 150 grams of unsalted butter and around about 200 to 220 grams of icing sugar. But I play it by ear and I taste as I go. I've pronounced it very well. Ha ha! Brilliant. Have you all got your cups of coffee? Cup of tea? Are you chilling? Are you having a good day? Are you having a good day? So what I suggest you do is you get everything ready in advance. So make up your buttercream because we want to reduce the stress for a first timer. So if you prepare everything in advance, things kind of go a little bit smoothly. You've got a cup of tea. Got a cup of tea, Mandy? Well, I've got a cup of coffee and I've got water because my throat, when I talk too long, for some reason, it goes really tickly. So, right, I'm glad everybody's here. So, right. Oh, so, now everyone's joined me. I'll very quickly just say this again. I'm going to be doing a tutorial for the basic novice first timer. You might not be a first timer, it might be a second, third time around, but I'm going to do it back to the bones. And I'm going to use very minimal tools, not a lot, because I want to show you that you can make it and it can still be effective without all the tools and things like that. So how's about that? So I know I'm probably making it difficult for myself, but I want to prove to you that you don't need lots of things. All you need to do, I mean, I do suggest that you do get a little palette knife of any size. I particularly like this little small one here. And you will need a smoother. All right, so I move my buttercream out to the side. Hope it's picking up. Yeah, I moved my little cake in here. And I've also got myself some strawberry jam. All right. Now, what I tend to do with my buttercream, as I don't refrigerate it, I make it fresh because it goes hard and you have to wait for it to kind of come back to room temperature, and it's best just to make it when you're ready, okay? So I've made my buttercream up. I'm going to get a spoon. And as I say, I've cut my cake into half. It's only a small 6-inch for demonstration purposes, so and I suggest when you're first starting, just do that. when you're first starting, just cut it in half. Don't make it into 3 or anything like that. Just make it easier for you, because the more layers you have, the more problems you can encounter. So I'm just talking for the novice here. So with a little bit of buttercream, just going to place some on the top there, like so. This is actually a little bit of an almond buttercream for my almond cake, because it's an almond cake that I'm making for the family. And I've placed a little bit of jam on the cake board, and that just keeps it stable, because you want the cake to be stable. All right, so with my little palette knife and I've got a little turntable, and it's something you should invest in later. It's not necessary when you're just learning, but it does make the job easier. All right, so holding the cake turntable, I'm just going to press that down. And the importance of buttercream is don't spread too thinly, because you can pick up the cake crumbs, and then the cake crumbs get into the buttercream, and you don't want that. So spread, but if it starts to pick up or bring it back up on itself, just add more buttercream. Do you understand? So again, I'm going to add a little bit more buttercream. Now, the thing about, I won't need as much, I'll take some of that off. The thing about buttercream is it can become unstable in hot weather, okay? It can. So just be wary of that. And some people add a little bit of milk to their buttercream. Don't overdo it if you've got a hot climate. Don't put too much milk or cream into your buttercream if it is too hot. So I'm just going to turn that now. I'm using the flat of the palette knife. It doesn't matter if it goes over, because we'll catch all that. Okay, so I'm just using it. And it's a nice liberal layer. Not too much, not too little. And we're just making sure that's as even as we can. All right, before we put the other layer on. So it's quite even, okay? Okay, so any questions up to now? Any questions, feel free to ask. I don't always catch them, but I will certainly help you if I can. So I tend to then bring in my other half for my jam, all right, or my sauce. This is strawberry jam, because I think strawberries and almonds go really well together. So I'm just going to put some of that on there, like that. Okay, and we don't want too much and we don't want too little. It's getting that balance. And the reason why I say try not to put too much in, if you overload and then you sandwich the layers together, the weight of the cake can press down and push the buttercream out to the side, especially if the weather is warm. Especially, not so bad in the winter here, but even so, it can still happen if you, and especially if you make your buttercream a little bit too soft, a little bit too milky or creamy, okay? So it's getting that balance. And as I say, again with the jam, not too much, not too little. Any questions? Feel free to ask. I'm just going to let my dogs out. Hold on 1 second. You dare bark. Don't bark. Go on then. Don't bark, or I'll have to put you on the naughty seat. Right, so we're going to replace this now and put this back onto the cake. So I'll just move that and move that in. Oh, it's picking up there. And I'm just going to put that back on the top. Okay, try and make sure it's on evenly. High. Is that jam straight from the jar? I think that was Mandy that said that. It is, but when I did a little trick on my last tutorial. Some people microwave their jam. Please don't. There's no need, or they add boiling water to it to soften it. You don't need to at all, I promise you. All you do is you put your jam straight from the fridge into your bowl and then mix and stir. And keep doing that, and it will break it down, and the heat from the spoon will break it down and make it loose and easier to spread. And the reason why I don't like microwaving anything, you know, or adding boiling water, is you're changing the flavour. And sometimes you can burn jam and it doesn't taste so good. So I kind of just take it from the fridge and give it a stir around. Right, I'm just washing my hands. I'm going to let the dogs in. Come on in. I don't know if that's both of them. No problem, Mandy. You got your cup of tea there. Good, 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 good. Cup of tea, cup of coffee, cup of chai. I'm just going to have a drink of water. And it is water. All right. So with my palette knife, I'm just going to clean up those edges there. Okay. And I put in a separate bowl the excess because I don't want to put it in with the buttercream because it'll have a mixture of the jam in there. So I just put that to the side and I turn as I go and take that excess off. Doesn't matter if a few crumbs fall off because that's the whole point of crumb coating it. And we're just going round like that. And I'm just going to smooth that off. Okay. So are we following it, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? Come on in. I'll let the second one in. My animals, they're such tinkers. Right. They're tinkers. Right, I'm going to bring in the rest of my buttercream. Now, what you can do, and what you might be best to do, advisable to do, is to put that in the fridge for about 10 to 15 minutes. But I'm doing a live demonstration, so not always easy. Not always easy to do. So, just going to clean off my palette knife. Clean that off. And I'm going to bring in the remainder. Now, as I've said before, I'm going to do this not with an inch thick of buttercream. I'm going to do it for my beginner. I'm not going to use a lot of tools and I'm not going to make it complicated because then you start to stress and then you start to panic that it's all lopsided or it doesn't look right and then we lose all confidence. So what I'm going to start with is how I started. It's just a light crumb coat to start. So you get your buttercream on your palette knife. It's always the best way. And we're just going to pat it on. Like so. Make sure that's all on. And we're going right to the bottom and we're just rubbing. Gently. Okay? Just gently. And up to the top. Like so. Like that. And this could be a little bit laborious and I apologise, but this is a live demonstration. And again, start small. Just do it in stages. Don't panic. Okay? Don't panic. A little bit more. And you just keep going round. All right? At first. Any questions at this point, please feel free to ask, and I hope if I see them coming up, I will. Okay? And not too much pressure. Don't put a lot of pressure on your cake, just very gentle. Now, I haven't put this in the fridge, but if I'd put it back, the buttercream in the centre might have been a bit more rigid. Okay, so I suggest you do that. And we're just going round. And with your little palette knife, just make sure you go to the bottom and the top and just gently go around, scraping off any excess. Okay? Keep going. Keep going. And as I say, this is making sure and making the surface of the cake a better for the fondant, and it will adhere. I'm not putting a lot on my palette knife. I'm only putting a little bit because I don't want to overwhelm the beginner, all right? So a little bit. And just do it in stages. Don't panic. Okay, do not panic. And try and get to the bottom as well. And we're going round. We're going round. As slowly as we go. We can always give a second coat. Okay? But notice I'm not putting a lot on. Now, a lot of professionals put a lot on, and that's fine, you know, that's fine because they know what they're doing. But I'm just saying, as a beginner, don't overload, okay? Just gently does it. Less is more sometimes, okay? Less is more. I'm just going to bring that round like so. Yeah. I can't go around that side, so I don't know how it's looking. But if you're doing it from your kitchen, you can get round because you don't have a camera there, then great. And it's a bit messy this stage, you know, but that's fine. That's fine. A little bit of washing up liquid won't go badly. So I'm just gonna go around there, right to the bottom. If it needs more, put a little bit more on like that, like so. And we're going to the top as well. Don't forget the top. But at the moment, I'm just trying to, and then I'm running it around, smoothing off as I go. Okay, and then we're going around the top, making sure it goes right to the top, right to the top. And I'm smoothing as I go. And then with a spoon, I'm going to put some on the top. Now I don't overdo this either. When I was just beginning, when I was just learning, I didn't put inches of buttercream on because you panic, and I know you do because I've done it. Because it'll go lopsided, especially when you're learning. So less is more, okay? So I've put some on the top, and my buttercream is quite firm actually. I shouldn't have put it in the fridge, but I had to because I had to prepare in advance for this demonstration. But yours won't be as harsh, shall we say. And I'm just running, and I'm going to just use the turntable. Don't worry if it goes over like that. Just use the turntable to turn as I go. We can always go back on, okay? Turning as I go, like so. And it doesn't matter if it goes over the edges, because what you do is then you come in and you push round, like so. That needs a little bit filling in there. Woo! Needs a bit filling in. So we're going round, like so. Like that. I'm having to lean over. I need to do my camera angles better. And again, just rub that through the edge. And we want it relatively straight. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to be smooth. That's the key before it goes in the fridge. Okay. And again, I'm just going to take that edge off. Any gaps, fill it in. Okay. And it leaves kind of a lip at the top. Leaves a bit of a lip. So what I do is, with a clean off any excess. And what I hope it's picking in. I kind of bring that in and then take off the excess. Bring that in, take off the excess. Bring that in, take off the excess. Bring that in, take off the excess. Like so. And practice makes perfect. And like that. And that's just the first coat. And you will put that in the fridge, and I will. I can't actually get round to do it, but you know, I will get better at these demonstrations. And at the top, again, you're just making sure that it takes off that edge. And you put that in the fridge, I would say for about minimum of 30 minutes, really, for the beginner. Yeah. And it gives you a chance to clean away and clean up and things like that. Now, I can't get round to that side because the camera's there. But do you get my drift? And then what I'll do is, or what I would do normally, is I would put that in the fridge for about 25 to 30 minutes, bring it out and put a second crumb coating on. Just a very light one. You don't have to go over the top. Don't overdo it. I haven't used any smoothing tools. I've just used my palette knife because I wanted to show you that you don't have to have a lot of equipment. Okay? You don't. And you just put that in for about 25 to 30 minutes. And then when you come back, you're ready to do the second coat. I won't have time today, but I wanted to show you how you do it so that you at least can follow this and then replicate it again. Okay, now I'm going to move everything out of the way. I'm going to put this in the fridge. And while I do, I'm going to have a drink. And wash my hands. Any questions, everybody? Hi, everyone. Welcome. Welcome, everyone. I'm going to put this in the fridge now. And I'm going to tidy up a little. Just tidy up a little. Because I'll need to roll out some fondant, don't I? So I'll move that out of the way. And put that in the fridge for about 25 to 30 minutes, but I won't be doing that today because I don't have 25 to 30 minutes. So I'm going to be showing you how to apply the fondant on a dummy cake, on a dummy. And not ideal, but I don't have lots of cakes. I've just got the cake that I baked for the family. And obviously when I was unwell, I couldn't even do that. So it was only yesterday I baked the cake for the demonstration today, and we'll have it for our tea with a nice cup of tea. So I'm just rubbing down, sorry about this, but you need your surfaces clean when you're rolling out fondant. Any questions here before I make it look easy? Mandy, you wouldn't believe how stressed I am. It's very hard doing a live demonstration, and I understand now why the professionals never do. Yeah, it's like working with animals and children. You don't do it. Now I know why they don't, because it's very, if you make a mistake, there's no going back, is there? Right. So I'm going to have a drink. Any questions, guys, before I turn to my questions? I tried it once and made a mess. Natalie, I have every faith. It's because you got stressed and you thought you had to make it look like a work of art. You don't. You just have to make it look smooth. Don't put 4 inches of buttercream on, like you see the professionals. Please don't. It's a disaster waiting to happen. Do it close. All you're doing is reducing the crumbs. You're smoothing out the sides and you're making the top a little bit level. That's all you're doing. Okay? Practice makes perfect, I promise you. You'll be a professional in no time. All right. So I'm going to go to a question here. My questions. I have a question from, they sent me it on Facebook. Right, question 1. My cake is burnt on the outside and is greasy. What doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? From Annalise. Annalise. Hi Annalise, thank you for your question. If it's burnt on the outside and it's greasy, then I think you're using too soft butter, too soft of a butter. Please don't microwave your butter when you're making a cake. All right? Please don't. Because what happens is it doesn't then blend well with your sugar and flour and your eggs. It kind of splits, as it were. And the butter seeps to the sides and to the bottom of your cake. And basically, when it touches the side of the cake tin, it's almost like frying, you know, something sat on the frying pan. Your cake tin becomes the edge and the bottom becomes a frying pan. So it kind of burns the bottom and that. And also, I've noticed, when she said greasy, I understand that, because it must be the butter, because if you use melted butter, when the recipe says no melted butter, just room temperature butter, it actually tastes greasy on the palate. It kind of sticks to the top of your mouth, if you understand me. So I'll put when this is over, I will put a link below. Hi Janet, welcome. You never got a notification. Absolutely disgraceful, YouTube. I don't know, but hi. I'll put a link below after this video is over of I did a video showing you the problems with butter, would you believe, and what it can do to your cake. People think, oh, my cake's a disaster because I just did it wrong. No, you've probably followed the recipe, but if you haven't treated the butter well, you can have disasters. So I'll put a link below and check it out. It's really interesting. It's not there now, however, but I'll do it later if I remember. Okay, so that's that. Okay, so we've crumb coated. And I would recommend, if it, to do 2 coats. And all I use, ladies and gentlemen, have I washed it now? Have I put it in the washing? I have a habit of putting things straight in the water. All I didn't use any other tools other than my palette knife. So I wanted to prove to you that you don't need lots of smoothing tools. This is just very, very useful. And all I used was that, okay? And I suggest you do 2 coats, but only thin coats. Don't think you have to put, an inch thick of buttercream. And to be honest with you, I see it on the channels and I think, I wouldn't want to eat that much buttercream. I really wouldn't. I even wouldn't like to eat that much ganache, to be fair. It's it overpowers the beauty of your cake, okay? Especially if you, and another thing, just to say, all these people who are thinking about getting into cake decorating, please master how to make a good cake. Get that right first and you'll have no problems. The rest will just come in time. Master your cake. So I'm going to start with the fondant. I might use a tea towel just to dry my work surface down. Hello everybody, welcome. Thank you for joining me today. I wasn't 100% well, I have to admit. And I'm not 100% right today. I've still got a bit of a temperature, let's say. Yeah, I'm all right. I'll live. Now, fondant. We've spoken about fondant before, and you can spend as much as you want. This is okay fondant, but I'm only using my surplus that I bought because there was a shortage in my shop. I'd run out of the supermarket's own brand white fondant, so I'm having to use Dr. Oetker. I'm not 100% happy with it, I have to say. But if you use Dr. Oetker, fine. But I just use, for celebration cakes for the family, I just use regular shop-bought fondant. And people think, well, you should be using a brand. You don't need to, especially the fondant's good. And for example, Tesco's white icing in the block, you can get it in 500 gram and a kilo. Absolutely wonderful to work with, to be fair. I have no fault with it. There are more expensive brands, but when you're learning, you don't want to be spending an excessive amount. And it tastes good as well. All right, and I don't particularly like fondant, would you believe? So I've got my fondant here. And if you've got a notepad or a pen, I would write this down because not a lot of people tell you this. And I'm going to tell you. Because, sometimes it's a closed shop. Information is at a cost or a price. But, I'm here just to inspire you to get into the kitchen. And that's all I need. I mean, people said to me, oh, put a super chat on your lives. And I went, no, no, it's not me. It's not who I am. So, I have got don't forget to hit like, boys and girls, gentlemen, ladies. I've got my fondant here. And if you've got a pen, write this down because I'm going to go through quantities of fondant you'll need to cover a cake. So I'll give you a minute. All right, so I'll just move my baggage out of the way. Now, I know I'm doing a lot of talking, but I really need to get on now because once you open your fondant, please work with it. Don't go and ring Agnes and Mabel for a natter. Or if the phone rings, just leave it. Because once you've opened it and it's been exposed to the air, you really need to start working with it, all right? So, I hope have you got a pen and paper? Something to write this down because it is useful. Have we got any more questions? Not at the moment. We haven't got any more questions. Right. So, I've got about 650. I can't. Agnes. Yeah. If you know an Agnes, say hi. So, I've got about So I'm going to stop, calm down, Lisa. Sorry, Miss Rebecca. Slow it down. Right. So if you've got a 6-inch cake, round about 3 inches high, 3.5, you'll need between 600 and 700 grams of fondant. All right. If you're using or making an 8-inch cake, you'll need around 1 kilo of white fondant. And if you're making a 10-inch, you'll need between 1.2 and 1.3 kilograms. Write that down. Write that down. And the reason why I've said those measurements is there will be excess and there will be a little bit left over, but in order for you to cover that cake correctly, it always has to be bigger. Always has to be rolled bigger than the cake. All right? Not the same size as the cake, bigger. So there is always a little bit left over. So I'm going to knead this fondant before we start. And it's important that don't just take it out of the block and start rolling. All right, we need to knead it. So I hope it's picking up. I'll move this out. So clean hands, I've washed them. And we keep it low to the board. Don't be lifting the fondant and stretching it. When we knead it like bread. So with the heel of your hand, bring it down on itself, okay? And like so. And like so. And keep it low. Keep it low to the surface, all right? And we're just making that a little bit more malleable. I'm doing it slow to show you. All right? And the reason we do that, and we don't lift and stretch and bang and pound, we don't add any more, we don't add air to your fondant. And by keeping it low to the floor or to the work surface, it stops air bubbles. Doesn't prevent them totally, but it reduces them. All right? Okay. So I'm ready to roll. Rock and roll. Everybody there. Hi, everybody, if you have just joined me. And I'm sorry you didn't get a notification, Janet. I really am. Right. I don't use a lot of icing sugar on my work surface. Or not as much as you think I would. All right? Because I add as I go. You don't want to dry this fondant out. I put a little touch on my rolling pin, but not on the fondant. And then I kind of rub it off. And we're going to start. I've missed a little stage out there, but hey, I'm just going to keep going. I'll show you it in a second. And I'm turning as I go. So I keep it moving. Oh, is it on? Is it picking up? And if it needs more icing sugar, I can always add it. Try not to add too much because you'd be surprised how quick it can dry out. And then you'll have cracking and things like that. And then when it starts to get a little bit bigger, pick it up with your rolling pin. Little touch. And then change the direction. Roll it down and keep on moving. Keep on moving, all right? And we want it relatively even. We don't want it thin at that end and large at the other. So I kind of use your eye, okay? And to move it, because it's getting bigger now, I put that in, tip it up and pick it up. I use my rolling pin, rub it out, and away we go. And we're just changing the angle of the fondant every time, so it's moving like so. And what I'm going to do is, I'm going to bring in my dummy. And the reason I'm bringing a dummy in is because this is a live demonstration and I would have to leave that cake in there for about 30 minutes. But I'm just going to measure my cake. And you should do the same. So just measure your cake. It's about 12 inches. So I'm at 12 inches now. Okay? It's round about 12 inches. But I don't stop rolling. It has to be bigger than 12 inches, if you understand. It has to be. Okay? Little cake crumb there. Out of my way. I thought I cleaned it. Right. Oh. What is happening? I'm hearing a lot of buzzing and I'm terribly sorry, but it's coming from my phone and I apologize. So I'm keep rolling, and you want it to be about, I would say between 5 and 8 millimeters thick as a beginner, as a novice. Don't roll it too thin. If you roll it too thin, it could crack. And I'm sorry if someone's trying to get hold of me while I'm doing my live. What a surprise. Don't have anybody ring me usually. Oh, what a surprise. So I'm about there. I'm happy. Now, normally I would have this whipped on the cake, but this is a demonstration. It's live and I've forgotten something. So I'm going to move this out of the way ever so quickly. Just move it to the side. And I'm going to bring my dummy in. This is a great way of practicing, by the way. You buy some dummies and you can practice. And with a little bit of water, because I'm only going to use water. You don't need to do this on your real cake. You can just add your fondant to the buttercream. I don't want it to splash on. I'm just going to lightly cover it with a little bit of water so that the fondant sticks to it for this demonstration. I don't have other cakes to show you at different stages because I'm not a business. I've just made my cake for the family. And the one in there, I'll just put another coat of buttercream on later and we'll just have it without any fondant. It'll just be a buttercream cake, if you understand. So there we have that. All right. And I'm terribly sorry if there's someone trying to ring me. I'm really annoyed. They never ring me, ever. Ever. I'll be having words. So I've got my thing here. I hope it's picking up here. So we're going to apply it to the dummy, or this would be your cake, okay? So I'm going to find the bottom, and then with the rolling pin, just flip it over like that. Can you see? And then very quickly with your smoother, get that top smoothed and get it fastened to the top of your cake, basically. Okay, so that's the first part. And then normally, how would I do this? I don't want to be in your way, so you skirt out and you press down as you go. So you skirt out and you press down as you go. Hope this is picking up. And you press down as you go, like so. Like that. Okay. And then I peel off with the pizza cutter any excess that's gone around the edge and is hanging off, because that will pull and it will try to pull your cake fondant off. All right. So that's that. Smooth that there. And then with my smooth, I'm just going to go around and polish. I'm not using any other fancy tools apart from the one smoother. I want to show you that you can do it without lots and lots of equipment. And then here's a little trick. Push that fondant into the cake. The little bit that you've got, push it in. And it will give a sharper cut. Okay, it will give a sharper cut. So I'm going to go in with my pizza cutter. And you've got your time. There's no rush. Take your time. You're not like me. You're not having to do it for a demonstration and people get bored. And just go around like that before you start smoothing away. Okay. Like that. Back round. Like that. And get that off. And pull that off. Like so. There. And then once that's off, we start polishing. Now this is a dummy, and I kind of just go around the edges like so, okay? And I go into the base and just smooth that base off as well, like that. And I give it a good polish, all right? And you're polishing the fondant. And because it's 5 to 8 millimeters thick, it gives you that a little bit less it's more forgiving. That's the word. It's more forgiving than if you make it too thin, because it could tear when you push it over. If it's too thin, it could push and fall. And that, I mean, I would go on and maybe do this for 5 minutes, polishing the cake and making sure it's nice and smooth. But that is kind of that. Phew! I didn't have any disasters as such. Is there any questions right now while I have a drink? And I hope I've covering the cake as best as I can. I think I have another question from one of my subscribers, but any questions right now from you? I'm just going to have a drink. I hope you don't mind. Let me just look at my questions. Question 2. All right, okay. This is a question. How long will the cake stay fresh? How long will the cake stay fresh? Sorry, there's other questions there, and I apologize, it's just gone off. Right, once it's covered with fondant, for example, let's just say you're making a birthday cake. Let's just say you're making a birthday cake, and the birthday party is on a Saturday. Let's just say I would bake the cake on the Wednesday, keep it in the fridge overnight, covered with cling film or cling wrap, airtight container. And then the next morning, next morning I would tackle the assembling of the cake. And once it's covered, so this will be the Thursday, once it's covered, it will probably last a week, to be fair. Okay. I don't think I would leave it that long, to be honest. I used to, and I still do, if it's my daughter's birthday, I start baking on the Wednesday, I cover it on the Thursday, and I decorate it, on the Friday, and then it's ready for the birthday on the Saturday. That's just my personal preference. It will last a week, but I usually do it a couple of days before the birthday. You never get bored. Oh, that's good. I hope you're referring to these tutorials. Okay, so a question from Metricol. He asks, why was cake sweating? It was ruined. Oh, bless you. There's nothing worse, is there? Okay, well, I do have a full tutorial about humidity and condensation in cakes. It's a little bit scientific, but nonetheless, I will link it below after this live is finished. But basically, let's just get straight to the point. Sugar is hygroscopic, and that's a scientific term, which basically means it absorbs moisture. It absorbs the moisture from the air, all right? And especially in humid climates, all right? And you don't have to have a humid country. We have had some very humid summers here, especially the last couple of years. And so if you are making a cake over that time, there are ways to prevent and reduce the risk of condensation. But basically what happens is, because sugar is hygroscopic, and fondant is full of sugar, and buttercream is full of sugar, and the cake is full of sugar, the sugars are attracted to the humid water in the air, in the environment, and it sucks it in. And if you're then putting it in the fridge where it's very, very cold, and then coming out into the very humid air, it reacts, and you can have a disaster on your hands. I mean, to be honest with you, it can just literally melt on you. It can just literally melt away. But I do have some tips. In fact, I'm going to do an update to that, because I was relatively new to YouTube when I made that video, and I wasn't used to kind of talking and explaining myself very well. But now I've got a little bit more confidence. I might do an update of humidity and the problems you can encounter and how to resolve it, because it's always important to know how you resolve issues. So, right. I've done it. I managed to do it. So has anybody got any questions before I let you go back to your families and enjoy the rest of your afternoon? hope I'm not shouting. Gosh, I'm right near the microphone. I'm sorry. I've basically covered the cake. It'll last a week once it's covered, but I tend to make my cakes nearer to the birthday. So if the birthday party's a Saturday, I would make it on a Wednesday, decorate it Thursday, and then I can forget about it till the birthday. But I've known people make cakes and leave them a fortnight. I wouldn't. I just wouldn't. But I like it. I want my cake to be its best possible taste. Okay, I want the person who's receiving it to enjoy the beauty of the sponge. It's not just the decoration, it's the sponge as well. So I want to thank you all. I don't have any more questions, I don't think. And if I have missed a question, I so apologise. No, I don't have any here. I think I didn't have many on this. And I'm going to be doing... Sorry, do you have a tutorial on the cake you have crumb covered? Natalie, I do actually. I'll link it below. When this video is over, come back on, and I have an old one. But just what I was just about to say, on my playlist, I've set up a new category, and it's called Beginner's Guide to Cake Decorating. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of, like we do with the Christmas cakes, where we get everybody enthused and inspired, and then we start creating our Christmas cake and preparing for it and making our little elements and getting ready to decorate and feeding the cake. I'm going to do the same with cakes. So I'm kind of going to do a back to basics. Now I do have a back to basics. It's going to be on a playlist, so everything from covering a cake with marzipan, humidity, Tylose powder, CMC tools, how I crumb coat, which I do have a few videos actually when I've been doing cakes. But I'll put that on my new playlist that I'm creating. It's called, I think it's called Beginner's Guide to Cake Decorating. And if you go into my videos and go into my playlists, in a couple of days, they'll all be in that file. All my tutorials showing you how to crumb coat, how to cover with fondant, how to use Tylose powder, CMC, the difference in using CMC to fondant, humidity, condensation, problems with using butter. It's a real factor. It really is. So that is me. I'm done. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope I haven't kind of gone off on tangents and not gone back to them and covered what I was talking about, because sometimes I babble when I'm nervous. I just want to thank you all for encouraging me to do these lives and actually being bothered to join me. It really does inspire me to keep going as well. So I hope I'm inspiring you, but it's a knock-on effect, because I'm getting inspired to keep going. And if I can teach or inspire one person to start cake decorating and making those birthday cakes, and anniversary cakes, or something special for Valentine's Day for your loved one. I mean, there's nothing better than getting all romantic and making them something special. So I just want to thank you all. Thanks for joining me. And if you have any questions that I haven't answered under the video, just drop me a line. You can see me on Instagram, although I have an Instagram account, but it's more of oh, Janet, you've inspired me, because the things you've sent me on Instagram, and Alison, yours will go great, Alison. Do not worry. I have every faith. Catch you next time, Mandy, and thank you all. If you've got any questions, drop me a line below. Now I'm going to head off now, because I've got to tidy up this mess. Have a great Sunday, everyone. Bye.